Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel True God Talk. Let's have a deep look about how did the Qur'an know something historians only discovered 4,000 years later. Seriously, we're about to uncover an ancient mystery that was buried under desert sands for millennia. Yet somehow it's spelled out clear as day in a book from the 7th century. Let's talk about Prophet Abraham. But before starting, if you've not subscribed to our channel, be sure to like and subscribe for more informative videos. Not just the spiritual figure, but the man who stood up to a whole civilization of idol worshippers. And more importantly, how the Qur'an exposes lost knowledge about his people that no one could have known until now. Setting the stage. So, here's the scene. Abraham, or Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was born in ancient Babylonia, what we'd call modern-day Iraq. Back then, this region was deeply religious, just not in a way you'd recognize today. Every city had its own god, literal statues they worshipped. Not just any statues either. We're talking about celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, and Venus, all personified as powerful deities. Ur and Haran. They worshipped in the moon god, Nanalasa and Sipper, all about Shamash, the sun god, and Uruk. That's where Ishtar, goddess of Venus, reigned supreme. This wasn't just random mythology, it was an organized belief system centered around what historians now call the Astral Triad, or my sun, moon, and Venus. These three formed the backbone of Babylonian religion, the archaeological shocker. Here's where things get crazy. Artifacts like the Stele of Ur-Nammu and Quduru of Nebuchadnezzar, only uncovered in the 20th century, show clear depictions of this triad. These images had been buried for thousands of years under ruined temples and desert sands completely unknown to the world. Until archaeologists like Sir Leonard Woolite started digging. Even the Sumerian language they were written in had become extinct and forgotten. So here's the million-dollar question. How did the Qur'an, revealed in the 7th century in Arabia, mention details that match exactly what was only rediscovered in the last 100 years? The Qur'an's mic drop moment. Let's look at what the Qur'an actually says. It walks us through Abraham's journey away from idol worship. When the night covered him, he saw a star and said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "I do not like those that disappear." Quran 676. That word used for star in Arabic, it is said as Kokab, which can also mean a planet. And check this out. It shows up briefly in the night sky and then disappears. That matches Venus, exactly how Ishtar was viewed in Babylonian belief. She was even called the evening star. The Qur'an calls out this pattern: star, Venus, moon, then sun. Just like the Astral Triad, this isn't vague or poetic, it's shockingly specific. Compare that to the Bible and Jewish legends. Now, let's rewind. What did ancient Jewish or Christian sources say? The Bible mentions Abraham's father worshipped other gods beyond the Euphrates, but no details. Jewish legends? Some say Abraham realized stars and the moon were under God's control, but again it's generic. They talk about stars plural, not Venus specifically. No clear order, no link to the Astral Triad. And in another legend, people worship elements like fire and water. But again, none of that appears in the Qur'an. So if the Qur'an was copying older stories, why does it include details that those stories completely missed? Could Muhammad, peace be upon him, have known this? Here's what makes it even more mind-blowing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived in 7th century Arabia, a world without libraries, no access to Sumerian tablets, no Google, no historical archives. Even Ishtar, the goddess we now know as Venus, took on totally different forms in other cultures. In Arabia, she became Aftarfa, a male thunder god. In Egypt, she was Canastarte, a war goddess. Her identity shifted wildly, depending on where you were. So how did the Qur'an pinpoint the Wexactan version of her worshipped in Abraham's homeland and get it right? The real challenge. Here's the bottom line. The Qur'an talks about ancient nations, long-lost cultures, and buried truths. But every time scholars dig deeper, literally, they end up confirming what the Qur'an already said over 1400 years ago. That's not just historical trivia. That's a challenge. How did a man in the desert know what was hidden beneath Babylon's sands? The Qur'an claims, this is a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. Maybe it really is.